Come here. Hermie, lay down. Gotta get this thing out. Just trying to sort out the old Nestlé files. There's no question that each of these kids, each of the John Does, there are 6 of them, suffered horribly. This is not a case of, well, maybe they needed a job. This is a case of kidnapping and slavery.
Engaged in a purposeful series of conduct controlled from the United States. They are in bed with the slaveholders. They want good cocoa beans and they want them cheap.
Nestlé opposes slavery, child labor vehemently. There's no facts in the complaint that they saw child labor, and the policies are against that.
They work hand in glove with these farms that engage child slaves. So it's an ongoing system that depends on decision-making at the highest level in the United States.
They're visiting every few months. Are you saying they had no idea there was child slavery there?
Well, there's no allegations about what happened on the visits in the complaint. But if I could back up, Your Honor, is this application domestic? Because if it's not domestic, then it's impermissible.
People today find it hard to believe that respectable corporate executives would still knowingly use slaves, because that seems pretty horrible. How would you think that about somebody? It is horrible, but they're doing it, and we're here to stop that. Did you figure out how to work that yet? So here, you do it. I don't want to break anything.
I don't remember how this works. I think it's like this.
Those are old-fashioned. After, let's see, 11 years of diddling around in the courts and getting delayed by these companies, every time they hear from us, they think it's like Santa Claus called. It's like, really? You're kidding. We're still alive in that case in California. Oh yeah, that's going to be John Doe 1.
Ubita nchoko jalasa kana dauma bongo no kwa. Bon, ni tlinan na dafasa ubana kanta e sufetu katana ni bosli. Bon mangasaba do buru bule fana antala blai. Ay tlinani fana ke. Bon tlinan na dafasa furutigi ni be bo tukono la sa kana barakela nyine sa kwa. To ubi do kamoko la jesisa. Inapo baka ferioro lo bi baka una je choko mi desike ninkai fubo beke kwa ona na fosa a vraiment ni mi ngolo kakene bota do ko jon la sakale be on tassa den to yonke kwa po anta sa.
And so how old are you thinking?
Well, I know that when he went to work, he was about 12. Let me think a minute. If 2005 is when they escaped. We found them. This was 2006. They could be as much as 18 or 19 by now, because they had been working when they were 12, 13, 14, in that range. Now they're grown up, you know.
We are up against these giant law firms. These companies are going to try to beat us with money. They have hired the biggest law firms in the country. And here on our side, we have me and Paul Hoffman's small firm taking them on. They'll have all these lawyers try to wear us down. They'll try to swamp us with paper. And as long as this case is dragging on, these senior lawyers now in these large law firms, they're billing literally $1,000 an hour now. That's a lot of money. So they want this to go on forever.
Paul, don't fuck it up.
I won't.
Well, I'm sorry to offend you with my language, but this is something Paul and I say to each other before every argument.
Every time we seem to reach the point of getting into the discovery phase, the Supreme Court decides something else, and we gotta go back to it, right? And so we'll see.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I feel pretty good about it. I think we're...
Well, if we win this thing, the argument, I think we're going to be in great shape. The plaintiffs, I just met them back in Mali, and they're articulate, they're committed. The hard part is to work on the supply chain issues because everyone is so secretive, and the companies keep lying and saying they don't even know where the plantations are. They just go there and buy beans. They've been saying that for years, and I know that's not true. Nestlé said, we buy from Cargill. We don't, so we don't even know what Cargill's doing over there. Yeah.
Kelsey and I have been researching the International Cocoa Initiative, who are taking care of implementing the company's child labor monitoring and remediation system. Basically, it's an industry group with all the biggest chocolate companies.
Oh, I know them.
Yeah.
I've been trying to meet them for years, and they're afraid of talking to me, and they won't even agree to meet me. So what, you think you can get a meeting with them?
Yeah, totally. I'm in touch with them, so...
See if you can get an appointment with them,
Okay.
because I know that they know everything.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Before we let you get back to work getting ready, what do you feel like is going to happen?
Yeah, so I think that one of the things we need to be prepared for is that if we are successful, which we hope we will be, I think we need to even get more information to support an amended complaint so that we can really make sure we meet any bar that they set for us.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to get fired up for it, not knowing whether we'll need it, but I'm going to go. Most of the kids are lied to by a labor broker. They go to Mali and Burkina Faso, round up a bunch of kids, tells them, you can have a great job in the cocoa sector, and then kidnap them, basically, and enslave them. They're 12, 13 when they first get recruited, big enough to work, but young enough to be afraid of adults. So usually the plantations will get 2-3 years out of these kids, and then they say, I'm never going to get paid, I got to get out of here. Imagine that, setting off in Cote d'Ivoire, you don't even know where you are, and trying to find your way home with nothing in your pocket, and you're already hungry and tired. Oh, very nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you.
Me too. Nice to meet you, Terry. There is a lot of things to see today.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So when they're talking about child labor, they put a sign on the wall. When they're talking about prices, they hold an emergency meeting of the entire International Council of Cocoa Producers. That's the difference. This sign on the wall is a joke. Hello, please. Oh, come on in. Come on in. The ICI, they're bragging that they have this monitoring system of 90,000 farmers that are being trained to monitor themselves. And in monitoring 101, the most fundamental rule is you can't have the fox guarding the chicken coop. So to have these people say, don't worry, the farmers who have been using child labor historically for generations, they're now monitoring themselves and they're going to make sure that this doesn't happen again. That is just nonsense to say. And they've been doing this for 19 years, claiming that they're on their way to fixing it.
And for the last few years, all of the reports have said that every single instance of child labor has been like family farms.
Well, that all sounds good. So what do you sense is the reason they were willing to meet with you?
Because, well, I think just the way I approached them was more in the sense that we were doing a research project.
And we are.
Yeah, but about what were the improvements in the cocoa industry in the last year. So I think they're happy to be bragging publicly, or at least for like university students, about that. Yeah.
Okay, good, good.
It would be hard for any judge, other than a heartless judge, not to be moved by the facts in the case, right? And the facts are supported by independent studies. I mean, it's not just us saying it. There's a lot of evidence about the fact that this system exists. That's the thing we have most going for us, right? That the reality is that our clients were harmed by an unjust system that continues to go on for year after year after year, and these companies are right in the middle of it. If we win at this appellate level, it just gives us the right to go forward, but obviously the goal is to get the information we need in discovery and to actually go to trial and get a judgment against Nestlé and Cargill.
He admitted on the record that they've never once found a trafficked child, but then he admitted that that's because the farmers lie and say that this kid is their nephew or something like that. That's incredible. Our strategy seems to be, if we can get away with having like a small flagship program that most consumers will believe, then we're good. That's their strategy.
That's exactly it, yeah.
So 20% at best, is covered by a bogus program, and 80% is not covered by any program.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. Paul Hoffman for the appellants. Our allegations are first that they're engaged in a purposeful series of conduct controlled from the United States, from their headquarters, to supply a cheap, continuous source of cocoa beans that are based on slave labor. They are in bed with the slaveholders, and they give them money, they give them technical assistance. Of course they want good cocoa beans, and they want them cheap. And that's what their purpose is. That is aiding and abetting under international law.
So we're approaching now the famous First Lady's Child Rehabilitation Center. So we're going to go see what it looks like right now.
C'est ici. Tranquillement. Non, mais tranquillement pas. Should we get in or?
Right there, yep.
Do you want us to get in?
Yeah.
Oui, tu rentres, mais tu vas tranquillement, ouais.
I want you to get in and go to the end and turn around.
Ouais, fais le tour en fait et ressors.
Pull like right up to the wall, but don't pass the wall and park.
Ça dit il ressort?
Non, tu ressors pas. Tu vois le premier mur ou la porte d'entrée?
Oui, oui.
Tu nous laisses là, OK? Mais tu dépasses pas. Ouais.
Bonjour. We have come from the United States, and I heard about this place, and I wanted to know if we could look.
Ouais, ouais, y a pas de problème.
Okay. Here comes a man with a suit.
Ça va bien?
C'est qui ça?
Bonjour.
Quelle structure?
Avec l'université.
Be a good place to have. I want it.
Bonjour. Vous allez bien? Enchantée. Mélina.
Hello, I'm Terry. The Mr. Director?
Vous êtes le directeur?
Oui, salut. Arrivé?
Oui, ça va bien.
Monsieur Profil Victor, le directeur du centre d'accueil.
We came here just because. Sorry?
Can you stop the camera?
Sorry?
Can you stop the camera? Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we can visit and look around, but they won't answer any questions.
Ok. It's Exploitation. Ok. C'est les enfants qui arrivent, ils ne savent pas lire, ils ne savent pas écrire. Ils ne savent pas lire, ils ne savent pas écrire. On les prend ici. On les matériel du monde. Ils apprennent.
Yeah.
Nous aussi. Là, c'est plénière, puis des travaux de groupe.
Travaux d'équipe, teamwork and stuff. There's no one in that one, so we can go in.
C'est pour les petites filles.
This one is for small girls.
Je le connais.
Oui, chef.
Voilà, il avait ici. Donc, ceux qui savaient la nuit.
Okay, so the night supervisor here is a girl, and with boys, it's a boy that supervises. Yeah.
We're going to fill this place up.
Ouais.
And thank you for your time.
Merci.
Woo! That place is empty.
And everything was spotless. The showers were unused. The
Yeah.
books in the library. I'm sorry, I've
Untouched.
babysat kids, and books look more used
Yeah,
than
no,
that.
that was my impression.
Yeah.
Those buildings are not used. That computer room, untouched.
Yeah, it was a display building.
Kids are messy. This place was untouched and brand new. I said, why aren't they here? Why aren't they falling out of the windows? And that's when the director said, no more questions. This was like a Russian, Soviet-style dog and pony show. That's all it is.
We've been litigating the case now for 14 years, and our organization has had its financial ups and downs as we've gone through this process, but there's no choice here. If we walked away, then the only hope these kids have is gone. That's it. And I would feel like a coward. I'm gonna finish it. I think that I have this passion for helping working people because of my background. I was born an underdog. My family was poor. My father and mother were really poor. My grandparents were immigrants. My grandmother was a child laborer in a garment factory. When she came, she was probably about 11 or 12, and the garment factories in Cleveland and other industrial areas, they had child laborers. My father got a job in a factory, and he got me a job there, and I worked there for 5 years. I was a member of the union. We all saw the benefits of workers sticking together and negotiating with management to get fair terms. And I looked around and saw that most people didn't have that. And at that point in my life, I said I wanted to be a union lawyer. I wanted to help workers. And I went to law school to do that. Now what I do is even more extreme, that we're not talking about improving worker rights, we're talking about trying to end slavery in the cocoa factories. That ironically, as time has moved forward, the problems are getting worse because the multinational corporations are getting away with more and more because they can.
They dominate the chocolate market here. They could, if they wished, end child slavery if they want, but instead they made the decision, as this court found in Nestlé 1, to purposefully continue a system of child slavery.
Thank you, counsel. We'll hear from opposing counsel.
Good morning, Your Honors.
Good morning. Excuse me, before you begin, I wonder, do you concede that slavery violates an international norm that is specific, universal, and obligatory?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so we start from that perspective.
And that really is the beginning point. I represent Nestlé in the USA. And Your Honor, Judge Nelson, let me say, Nestlé opposes slavery, child labor, vehemently. And Nestlé USA is based in the United States. It's a candy company. It doesn't have exclusive supplier contracts. Nestlé USA buys cocoa from Cargill. So the complaint on its face, if one reads it from start to finish, doesn't hang together. It doesn't tie Nestlé USA to the farms, to the individual plaintiffs, to the time frame. It's completely speculative to just announce. And it's really not fair to companies to say, oh, of course they knew and they were there on the ground. There's no facts in the complaint that they saw child labor, and the policies are against that. So it's speculative and conclusory. And again, I go back to where I started. We oppose child labor. The companies have strong policies against it. There's no facts in the complaints that suggest that allege otherwise. It's complete conclusions and speculation. And with that, I will sit down. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Could you put 5 minutes on the clock, please? Thank you for your argument, counsel.
Allô? Bonjour.
Bonjour. He's the boss? He's the owner?
C'est votre plantation? Oui.
Okay. Are these your children? How do they relate to you?
their dad is not here.
Okay. Thank you. Merci. Ah! This is probably a typical farm of the million farms where no one's paying attention, whether the kids are from the neighbor's farm or they're trafficked. It's still illegal what they're doing here. I just don't understand why once you know that your product is being made with child slaves who are trafficked, the first thing you wouldn't think is, we gotta stop that. How did that happen? But instead, their reaction is, we might get caught. We need to do something to prevent people from knowing what's going on. I know, let's lie about it for a while, and then we'll adopt this sham initiative and stretch it out for as many years as we can. We have to go visit one of the large cooperatives that has thousands of cocoa farmers as members to see what they're doing about child labor. They've made a lot of promises about ensuring that they're not using child labor. Let's see what they're actually doing. When we're coming in, we see there's a sign for Cargill and UTZ and Fair Trade. How do you interact with Cargill?
Cargill, s'il veut croiser quelqu'un, c'est eux qui croisent.
C'est Karim?
Voilà,
Avec Karim, comment ça se passe?
Karim.
Ils interagissent directement avec toi?
Oui, Cargill, il y a nos commercial. Commercial, il y a Dalois, c'est lui qui commande l'Ouest. Chaque mardi, il quitte là-bas le mardi, il commence lundi. Voilà, ils viennent tourner, voir ce qui se passe au magasin. Non, on a quel problème. Bon, on a expliqué, puis ça va dire au patron.
Someone mentioned that you are certified. What does that mean? What do you have to do to be certified?
Bon, certification, afin de travailler, elle est prime. Auditeur va venir auditer en brousse, il va venir tourner en brousse pour voir ce qui se passe en brousse. Si c'est bien, tu gagnes un certificat. Si c'est pas bien, tu n'as pas gagné.
Comment ils vérifient ça?
Ils vérifient sur les auditions.
OK.
Et aussi, ils se promènent en brousse pour voir ce qui se passe en brousse.
How many farmers are in the cooperatives that are here?
1000 et quelques, oui. 1000 et quelques planteurs.
So when this man comes once a week, does he go to all 1,000 of the plantations, or how is he interacting with all of these plantations?
C'est pas son nouveau. Lui, il vient nous regarder comment on travaille, sinon c'est pas son nouveau. C'est les auditeurs qui viennent auditer par an. Son leur certificat, c'est 3 ans.
Une fois par 3 ans?
Oui, quand tu fais cette année-là, c'est 3 ans.
So is he saying that in the 1 to 3 years between possible visits that the inspector goes to a plantation one time of the 1,000?
Non, tous les planteurs, ils vont fouiller, ils vont regarder.
Mais il y a combien d'auditeurs?
Il vient 2.
Deux auditeurs. Puis ils font 1000 plantations?
Bon, non, je pense pas qu'ils peuvent faire ça en une semaine. Non.
Merci. À la prochaine.
There's nothing to stop him from going down the road and buying 20 more bags and taking them over there. That's the point. So there's so much room for cheating.
Yeah.
I just would like to peek my head in that Cargill place.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, Andrew Pincus for Cargill. Like Nestlé, I just want to make clear Cargill abhors forced labor and is working to stop it.
They're visiting every few months. Are you saying they had no idea there was child slavery there?
Well, there's no allegations about what happened on the visits in the complaint. But if I could back up, Your Honor, is this application domestic? Because if it's not domestic, then it's impermissible. And the aiding and abetting activity, much of it alleged was in West Africa, the paying of the money, the purchasing of the cocoa, all of that, the providing of the trainings.
The corporate playbook is to say that the whole enterprise is illegitimate You know, we're just left-wing lawyers that are trying to get in the way of international commerce.
Okay, let's just peek into this Cargill thing here. Just see what even the building is for.
Votre société, c'est quoi? C'est quoi vous faites là?
La société. Ok, il demande qu'est-ce qu'on fait là, le nom de la société.
Nous?
Votre travail, c'est quoi?
Avec l'université Berkeley. On est avec l'université.
I think you talk to Cargill boss.
Je parle à qui?
Faut parler à mon patron.
Oui, bonjour. Oui, ça va bien? Oui, je suis une étudiante à l'université de Berkeley en Californie. Allô? D'accord, je vous repasse carrément.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He just wanted to know what we were doing and who we were and what we were asking. But he's apparently
From Cargill?
no. He says he's from the cooperative. He's the one that's taking charge of commercializing the cocoa for the cooperative.
I have to read this. Show to the ladies.
Is this one here?
Yes.
Can you read it out loud?
It's in French, so I cannot.
I think the people they make a call.
Oh.
Everybody know now.
Oh,
Spread
yeah.
information.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, hi boss, are you part of the Collins team who is investigating on the child labor issues at this moment? Thanks. That was like right now, 20 minutes ago.
Thanks, Anj. That was from his friend who works for one of the big cocoa companies. They're on high alert not to be doing things that'll get them in trouble.
Terry? Terry?
Yes.
Okay. My advice, I think, I tried to call my friends who sent me a text message and he said he's on the meeting with his boss.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I will talk to him later. We can tomorrow morning leave here and on the way to Zurich we can go to the bush, see some farm. So before they make a call, blah, 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 we leave real quick.
What would happen if the government sees us tomorrow?
Okay.
I'm just curious.
I want to be direct.
Yeah, do.
I want to be honest because
Now they're
you are
worried.
not allowed to investigate on child labor and cocoa industry because you have to get approval from the cocoa sector, the CCC, first.
We can just argue we're doing research, not investigation. It's the same for them, or?
I think that if they arrested us for investigating child labor, that would be spectacular because it would show just why this is still a problem here.
They want to avoid that,
Yeah.
but they can control the Ivory government.
If you could forward me your text, because that's evidence
I will show
that if we did get arrested, why did that happen? Because somebody even knew my name and alerted everybody out here.
Both of us have to be back for class on Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say my wife is going to miss me and my dog is going to be really angry if I'm not home to hike with her.
Another good argument.
Yeah, we got a million of them. In court, Nestlé and Cargill actually stand up and say they just buy beans. They don't know anything about what's going on. But when they're trying to promote themselves as good companies, they claim that they have relationships with the farmers. They're helping them to become better farmers.
They even produce videos to show what their people are doing to help in the field. This is pure hypocrisy, and we have to bring out the facts.
Is it true that they also visited regularly to make sure that the people supervising the slaves and so forth were doing their job?
Yes, and that's the allegation, is that they send people to visit, that they know what's going on, that they work hand in glove with these farms that engage child slaves. So it's an ongoing system that depends on decision-making at the highest level in the United States, and decisions that send technical assistance, money, people, everything that you could think of that would make them a participant as an aider and abetter in this system.
I think there's nothing further. Thank you all for your very helpful arguments.
All rise. On Tuesday, a U.S. federal appeals court reinstated a lawsuit by a group of former child slaves who accused the U.S. unit of Nestlé, the world's largest food maker, and Cargill Company of perpetuating child slavery at Ivory Coast cocoa farms. Judges unanimously ruled that the group could proceed with its claims, despite the alleged crimes having occurred overseas.
Hey, Paul, what's going on? Wow, that's amazing. That's the best thing that could have happened. And geez, 15 years of hard work, and we finally are getting somewhere. This is the best thing that could have happened. It's a culmination of 15 years of hard work, and now the next step is going to be a blast. We get to put Cargill and Nestlé in front of a California jury. Can you imagine that? They're going to hear about child slavery and how the companies did it for so long, for as long as they could get away with it. And then we get to ask the jury, what would be an appropriate punishment for a reprehensible company that uses child slaves? It's not $10 million. They lose that off the boat every day. To teach these big companies not to use child slaves, I think you'd have to go for billions of dollars. Then they won't do it again.
Il y a des gens qui travaillent? Oui. Ah, ok. Ah, ok. Bonjour, monsieur. Ok. Moi, c'est Ange. Lui, c'est monsieur Terry.
Hello.
Il est américain.
Hello. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nobody can say my cocoa bean come from a safe place because they buy the small amount everywhere. So how you can guarantee that your beans, it's a fair trade bean, a certified bean, or a good bean without child labor? You need plenty small amount like that to have a big volume.
And that's probably intentional then.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a way to disguise the production. Yes, yes.
Nous, on a vu des gens, des travailleurs là. C'est qui exactement les travailleurs là?
C'est des jeunes burkinabés.
Ok.
Bon, ils sont quittés en ville. Okay. Tous les matins, ils viennent chercher du boulot.
Okay.
Voilà, je suis tombé sur eux, puis je les ai fait venir faire un constat. Et donc, il travaille pour moins 1 degré hectare.
Abu? Abu? I am Terry. I am Terry. Terry. Can you ask him how old he is?
Tu as quel âge, Abou? 14 ans. C'est 14.
14. How long have you been working on cocoa?
Combien de temps tu travailles dans le cacao?
Ça va être 12 ans maintenant.
He worked in cocoa since 2 years ago.
Okay.
When he had 12.
12. And you are from Burkina Faso?
Tu viens d'où ça? De quel pays? Burkina. En voiture?
En car.
Yes, bus. He come in a course in bus.
Okay. Did you come alone or with some friends?
Tu es venu avec des amis, ou bien tu es venu seul, ou bien tu es venu avec ton papa?
Je suis venu avec mon papa, il m'a laissé.
He come with his father and his father leave him.
Okay. After your father left you here, do you know why?
Il demande, est-ce que tu sais pourquoi ton papa t'a laissé?
Non.
You don't know.
Okay. How long will you stay here?
Je suis venu à 15 ans.
He don't know. He said now. He said that he come here when he have 15. I think he don't know anything.
Yeah. No, he's getting the stink eye from this guy.
Yes, I think
Yeah. Okay. Well. Have you been to school ever?
Tu es parti à l'école?
No. He almost started crying, and then he got the evil eye from this guy, and then he pulled himself together, but you could tell he's just broken.
Oh, man. Every trip that I've made recently to Côte d'Ivoire, I leave the country just shocked. We see not only child labor, but trafficked children, kids that are 12 years old performing hazardous work. The fact that I am able to see it, and I am a 6-foot white guy that is roaming around, if it's in that plain view of me, then there's no way the companies with their local staffs are not fully aware of this. They are not only fully aware of it, they know they're profiting from it.
I don't think most American consumers are comfortable with the idea of a kid trafficked in to pick their cocoa when they're eating their chocolate bar.
No, it's a really sobering, eye-opening piece. Peter Walrisky, thank you very much, Peter.
Sufi, check this out. The Washington Post piece finally came out. This is awesome. This is really going to help us. He's got the names of the companies there, Mars, Nestlé, and points out in the headline enough to make you mad.
I just think that all the company executives this morning probably spit their coffee out.
I hope so. I hope this changes everything.
Yeah. The thing that I fear now the most is that the Supreme Court's going to take this thing for a review. That's going to add 2 years to the timeline, and we've been doing this for too long. Well, luckily, the Supreme Court is very busy and only takes about 100 of the 3,000 petitions that it gets. So our chances are pretty good that the court isn't going to interfere with our case.
All right, this is exciting. Today's the day we find out if the Supreme Court is taking our case. And I am nervous. They granted it. God damn it.
This is terrible news. The Supreme Court has now granted review, and we're going to have argument on December 1st. The Supreme Court doesn't take cases just to say great job. They're going to do something, and there's a chance they're going to throw the case out after all these years and we're done. I'm very concerned. This is terrible. Well, we're in the middle of the COVID pandemic, so the court has canceled all arguments and doesn't even use Zoom. They just hold telephonic arguments. So I'm going to just be listening on the phone. It's going to drive me crazy. Paul, how you doing? Oh, I just wanted to wish you good luck and to give you my traditional pre-argument greeting, which is, Paul, don't fuck it up. We're counting on you.
All right, well, you just need 30 seconds for that.
Okay. No, go get him. Bye.
Bye.
Our only hope is that there is a speck of humanity inside some of these justices, that they will see just how primitive and barbaric it would be to say in the year 2020 that corporations cannot be liable for child slavery.
The Honorable, the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices of the Supreme Court of the United States.
Justice Alito? Mr. Katyal.
This is the guy who's gonna fuck us.
Suppose a U.S. corporation makes big show of supporting every cause du jour, but then surreptitiously hires agents in Africa to kidnap children and keep them in bondage on a plantation so that the corporation can buy cocoa or coffee or some other agricultural product at bargain prices. You would say that the victims who couldn't possibly get any recovery in the courts of the country where they had been held should be thrown out of court in the United States where this corporation is headquartered and does business?
That's a good question.
Three buckets of answers to this, and this is really the heart of the case in many ways.
That's
I'll try
interesting.
to briefly outline them and then hope to detail them.
Could you set aside for me why you think international law, there's not an international law against aiding and abetting something as heinous as child slavery?
We are not disputing.
How much would you have to pay someone to defend child slavery in the fucking Supreme Court?
And the reason, I think there are two different reasons. One is that when you, the site to Malesko from Jesner shows, when you go after...
To Paul.
Thank you, counsel. Mr. Hoffman?
Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court.
If this were live, I would have handled the facts, but also I would be sitting there with them and I could slip them a piece of paper.
I guess I want to understand why I should be creating
new causes of action as a judge.
He's asking Paul, why should he create as a judge a new cause of action? And the answer better be, we're not. It's a recognized, aiding and abetting is recognized going back to Old English law.
Our position on aiding and abetting liability is that, in fact, the founders understood aiding and abetting liability. There was aiding and abetting liability in British common law that was received in our law.
Thank you, counsel. The case is submitted.
Hey, Paul. Paul. Hey. Well, you did great. And I think that the court didn't tip its hand at all. What do you think?
The questions of Katyal were pretty good from our perspective.
They were excellent. Now we're going to have to wait till May because they didn't really give us much of a tip of the cards, did they?
No, I think it could happen almost any way, right?
Yes. Assume the best until we get a decision. All right, thanks, man. Take care. Here we go. Thomas wrote it. That's probably not good. No, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Damn. Since slavery was legal until 1863, according to Justice Thomas, then the statute doesn't cover it because the original founders wouldn't have thought it should be covered. No. Okay, I better call Paul.
Hi, Terry.
Hey, Paul. So I assume you read the decision. I'm just so pissed off. This is just what you'd expect a Supreme Court with Trump people on it to do. What was your reaction?
I think it leaves it open to us to go back and amend our complaint. It's the narrowest possible loss that we could get with a lot of good things in it.
Well, if you say so, I just see 8-1 throwing our case out, and they didn't even need to do that.
Well, I think in part they did it to make sure that it was a narrow decision that left open the possibility, even in this case, of going forward.
So you think that even though they didn't say so, we have a shot to amend the complaint? Because Alito said so, but no one else did. That's kind of weird.
I think so. I mean, I think that what they've said, I think what they've left open is that if we can prove that there are specific aiding and abetting acts, that were connected to this child slavery, that we can allege, that we have a chance to go forward, and that would overcome this presumption against extraterritoriality. And they've left open, exactly what you have to prove to do that, so we have to keep fighting.
Yeah.
I think that the way that child slavery is going to be ended is when people rise up and they won't buy chocolate bars that are made with child slave labor.
I agree with you completely. I think the missing quiver here is we've got to get people to care. We've got to get people to walk into a grocery store and see a Nestle product and be revolted by it because it's associated with slavery. I promise you, I promise John Doe 1, that as long as I'm breathing air, this is my primary objective with my career, is to stop this child slavery. And
we're going to put an end to it, Terry, you know that.
yeah, we'll keep trying.
It's just we just got to keep working on it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for everything, Paul. I feel a lot better talking to you, and I'm going to get back to work and get these guys with one of these cases. Thanks. Bye. Okay. All right, we're going to go for a walk. Clear my head a little. All right. Come on, girl. Let's go. Want a little water? Okay. You ready? All right. Let's go to the park. It shouldn't be this hard to win a case against Nestlé and Cargill when everyone agrees there's child slavery in their supply chains, and the only thing they've managed to do is throw lawyers and money at this to cause delay.
All right, good girl.
And unfortunately, our Supreme Court, the Roberts Court, is very receptive to that. They protect corporate America. That seems to be their #1 agenda, and we're up against that.
Good job. Here you go. Sit. That's it. All right, let's get going. Come on.
Nestlé and Cargill might have enjoyed the brief moment of victory in the battle at the Supreme Court, but they must know, because we've demonstrated time and again, this is not just a battle. It is a war, and we're going to win it.